And Isha, I think we'll begin. Thank you. Good afternoon, faculty and students of Dhirubhai Ambani International School. I am delighted to welcome you again to another in our leadership lectures. This is a great opportunity today to listen to the wisdom of Dr. Rupinder Singh Sodhi, who is the Managing Director of one of India's biggest and greatest companies, Amol. Dr. Sodhi joined in 1982 and has for the last 10 years, over 10 years, been Managing Director of the company. He's an engineer who did his MBA at the Institute of Rural Management and has gone on to lead Amol to become a leader in the field of the dairy industry in India and indeed beyond. Some of his interest and work has concentrated on a distribution network as a way of ensuring that products are spread across India to even the smallest hamlet, and Amol has got huge market penetration as a consequence of that. Food and the agricultural sector is often one which doesn't receive the attention which it really should, in particular in a country like India, where agriculture employs so many people and has such a vital role to play. I am particularly glad that we have Dr. Sodhi today to speak to us, because as agriculture is so much in the news, I think there'll be a really good opportunity to hear what one of the professionals in the agricultural and food sector thinks in terms of how India is developing. So, thank you very much. Isha.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sodhi, for taking the time to be with us today. It's so inspiring to know how you've served dairy farmers in so many capacities and how you've rebuilt Amul's model to make it so sustainable and so successful. And at the end of Dr. Sodhi's talk, we will be having a question and answer session. So if any students have any questions for Dr. Sodhi, you can just raise your hands and ask them your questions. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Sodhi.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Michael and Isha, for the nice introduction. And it's my honor to speak to the students of the very prestigious school, Dhirubhai Ambani School. Well, let me tell you, I have talked on so many conferences, webinar, but this is the first time I'm talking to the students. Students from 9th to 12th, I am being told. And I can understand what is going through your mind when I was in more or less in your age or in the class. And naturally, everybody is worried. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to decide where he or she will be in his life, in her career, or how, what business, etc. And at any given time, everybody thinks about the destiny, etc. And there's nothing wrong in that. And but let me tell you, my experience of after I've been schooling of last 45 years, I can tell you, for a human being, it is extremely difficult to decide the destiny. Only the God can decide, and He may have decided every one of us. But I'll tell you my story. I'll tell you the Amul story. I'll tell you what I can, inputs from working in the field of agriculture, food for last more than 39 years. What I can tell you about the future of the food or dairy industry. So whether some of you want to get into this industry by way of as an entrepreneur or as a professional, and what are the challenges you can face it. I have to speak for 30 minutes, so I'll try to limit within that. Otherwise, the host can remind me to stop. In between, I'll put few slides also. Let me tell you, today I may be sitting in Gujarat in the head office of India's biggest FMCG or food company with more than 7 billion turnover, 52,000 crore turnover. But fortunately, and especially for a person who's an employee of 36 lakh farmers, I was also born in the family of farmer only. I was born in a small village of only 50 houses, a village called Ratta Kheda on the border of Pakistan in Firozpur district of Punjab in 1958, December, to be precise, December 58. Initially had education in a school in the village only, where the one room, 4-5 classes are there. And fortunately, I say fortunately, 1960 war with the Pakistan started. Our village is very near to the border, so we were evacuated. And my parents took us to Delhi, which was the nearest station, and they got us admitted there. So temporarily we shifted to Delhi. I got admission into the 4th standard of municipal school there, government municipal school in R.K. Puram, and then did my 8th in the municipal school, and then high secondary that time used to be only till 11th, so 9th to 11th in a government school. And then naturally after passing out, there are very few. You people have got now hundreds of options in the career. At that time, there are very few options, either engineering or commerce or doctor or arts, 4 fields. And engineering also, there are only 4-5 branches. I was not a brilliant student, let me tell you. And based on my marks, I got admission into BE Agriculture Engineer, Bachelor of Engineering, Agriculture Engineering for Agriculture University at Udaipur from Delhi State Quota. And thereafter, I could manage doing well in my education. And I was in the class, you can say the first 10 out of a class of 50 people. And during those days, everybody was aspiring to become junior engineer in the government of Rajasthan, because they were offering appointment letter right when you were in the class. But somehow few were going for the further studies. After completion of my engineering, I got option either to go for a MTech at IIT Kharagpur or do my MBA at 2-3. I appeared in IIM Ahmedabad. I passed the written. I could not pass the interview. But luckily that time, Dr. Varghese Kurian, I'll talk about him later, he started Institute of Rural Management at Anand. So I got into that. I passed after 2 years. And when I passed IRMA, the name of my institute, I got a job on campus placement Amul. So 39. This is my first job. And I was posted in Jaipur in the sales, then in Ahmedabad for 9 years. And then 93, I came to Anand. So basically, I can tell you that this is the margin, right from there to here. But if I look back the whole journey, I think the maximum work which I had done is during my village days or during my college and school days when we used to go to the summer vacation to school and we had to work in our fields, whether harvesting wheat or paddy transplantation or weeding, etc. I mean, 10 to 12 hours in the month of May and June. And after doing that hard labor, let me tell you, now sitting in this plush office for 12 hours, it's a luxury. And then after my joining Amul, the first 3-4 years, I think was the maximum work which I put in, because that time the learning graph was going like this. And the credibility and the image and which I built during 3-4 years of my work in the organization, really giving us a dividend till today. So this is in short, I can only tell you, I had never thought of that I'll come to the Amul. During my schooling days at R.K. Puram, Delhi, we used to stay on a rented accommodation in a colony of peons, and I used to aspire to become peon. When I got into engineering college, I was aspiring to become junior engineer. When I got into Amul, I was aspiring to become a manager in Amul. But it's a destiny where I am, and I am always thankful to the God for giving us the opportunity. So this is about the R.S. Sodhi. Now coming to my Amul, well, I'll tell Isha also to load the presentation. Just 4-5 slides are there. So I'll not bore you with the long presentation. So Amul, which I talked, India's biggest food FMCG company. Let me tell you, it is not owned by any individual or multinational or corporate or any government. It is 100% owned by 3.6 million farmers of Gujarat, and it's a 72 years old company, we can say. And but still, if you see the growth of this company, our CAGR average growth rate is today is 14 to 15%. I remember when I took the managing director of this company 10 years back, our turnover was 8,000 crore, and today it is more than 50,000 crore. And I mean, it is growing. I think this is, maybe you'll understand the success, reason for success. Isha, can you just show me the next slides? Yeah, just see this graph. This graph shows the milk production in the four main countries or continent. You can say red line is of India, then is USA is purple, yellow is whole of European Union, 27 nations. If I use it till mid 70s, till 75, we were 1/3 of USA, 1/8 of Europe, and more or less equal to our other countries like Netherlands, Australia, or New Zealand. And then see where are we today. Today, we are world's largest producer of milk with around 190 million metric ton. We are double than the USA, 25% more than the Europe, and growing at rate of more than 5%. Whereas world is growing at the rate of 1.8%. So, and contributes 22% to the world milk. And how this happened? This happened, I'll take to next slide. Next slide, please. You see, the per capita consumption was, or availability was reducing after independence because population was growing and production was stagnating around 20 to 22 million metric ton. At that time, it's very important, please listen, because today's, like the Mr. Michael mentioned about the agriculture, which is very important. Everybody's talking about agriculture. In mid 70s, the farmers, the policymakers, and the political leadership decided that we have to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in milk. The reason was simple. During that time, population growing, production are growing, consumption growing. So what happened? Imports were increasing. We were dependent on imports and the quality milk was good. And that time, farmers, policymakers, and political leadership decided that we shall replicate already a very successful model in one part of India, which is Gujarat, all over India. And in mid 70s, Operation Flood or White Revolution started by Dr. Verghese Korean. You can see his picture above me. And then you can see by 1996, we not only became world's largest producer, but also self-reliant. And afterward, the story, you can see the way we are growing. Next slide, please. Now I'll come to the reason for this success. This is also very important in today's context when farmers are agitating. This you see why farmers produce more. Farmers got better price. You see in India, average milk producer is getting 70 to 75% of what you pay a 1 liter of milk in Mumbai or any part of India. In case of Amul, 80 to 86%, because our scale is huge. And you compare other developed countries, so-called very rich in supply chain, no country is able to give more than 30 to 36 or maximum 40%. 20 years back, these countries, farmer share was up to 50%, but day by day, farmer share is reducing, subsidies increasing, and the middlemen or the other parts of the supply chain are gaining more. Next slide, Isha, please. Now I'm telling you the reasons how Amul history. I'll take you back to pre-independence. The Britishers were ruling. India was dependent on imports. Bombay was not getting good quality of milk. Britishers were ruling. The British army was not getting, British officers not getting good quality of milk. And that time, they gave a monopoly to a private entrepreneur called Polson to buy milk directly from the farmers and supply to Bombay. Naturally, if one entrepreneur gets the monopoly on the farmers' produce, you see today what you are hearing. So he started fleecing. I'm not using fleecing, but exploiting the farmers by not giving a good price or not accepting milk when winter production is more. So farmers went to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was later on the Deputy Prime Minister of India, who was from this part of Gujarat. And that time, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel gave very good business philosophy to the farmers. He said that if you want maximum realization of your produce, you should not only produce it, you should process and market it yourself. The whole supply chain should be owned by you. And for that, you need a structure like cooperative society. And you see the gentleman right side of this picture, Tribhuvan Das Patel. Tribhuvan Das Patel was a farmer leader here. And he was given the responsibility to form a cooperative society. And in 1946, farmers wanted to register a cooperative society, and government has to register it. And that was Britishers were ruling. Britishers refused to register cooperative societies. Farmers went on strike. 15 days, not a drop of milk was given to the person. So the English milk commissioner came to Anand to talk to the farmers, and farmers said, we'll supply you milk. You buy directly from us, directly from our cooperative society, and please register our cooperative society. On 31st of October 1946, Amul was registered as a registered cooperative society. The name was Kera District Cooperative Milk Producer Union Limited. Now come to 1949. You see the left side, Dr. Varghese Kurian, you can see his picture. Dr. Varghese Kurian came back from USA after completion of his master's in dairy from Michigan State University. He did his metallurgy engineering from the Chennai Engineering College, which is now today IIT Chennai. And he belonged to a very well-to-do family that time. His one uncle, who was the chairman of Tata Steel and later became India's first finest, Mr. John M. Mathai. His father was a renowned surgeon in the Indian Army. I mean, all well. And you can see from here, by chance, he landed Anand under a bond because he had won a scholarship to the US and Government of India scholarship to did his MTech. So he was sent to Anand for 6 months to complete his apprenticeship. When he landed here, by the time he completed his apprenticeship, Tribhuvan Das Patel approached him that on your request, on your guidance, we have ordered a pasteurizer. It is coming. You are going back. Stay here for 3 months more. We'll pay you, train our people, erect the pasteurizer, then you go. Dr. Varghese Kurian reluctantly agreed to stay for 3 months, and he stayed at Anand for 61 years, and it changed the total history of India as far as milk is concerned. And then he, under the guidance of Tribhuvan Das Patel, founded Amol and made Amul such a big organization, which is today a number of other cooperatives are formed. So next slide, please. So what is Amul model? So Amul model, we call it 3-tier structure. The bottom end is village cooperative societies, where around on an average 200 milk producers are pouring milk, where milk quality and quantity is checked electronically. Then milk is transported to district union. Each district union having around, on an average, about 1,000 village cooperative society, and where milk is processed, packed under common brand name Amul. Then these products are taken by the State Milk Federation, where I work, where milk, all these products and milk under common brand name Amul is marketed all over India and abroad. And whatever money is realized from the consumer, is going back to the district union after deducting expenses, and whatever money district union gets, they pay back to the village cooperative society, and village cooperative society pays to the milk producer after deducting all the expenses. So no profit, nothing, whatever expenses are deducted going back to the farmers, because farmers own the whole supply chain. So the left side data is of Gujarat, 3.6 million farmers, 18,000 village cooperative society, 18 district union. And when the I showed in the first slide, Amul was replicated all over India by Dr. Varghese Kurin. National Dairy Development Board was formed, and then it was replicated. And you can see, you go to Karnataka, there is Nandini, Rajasthan, Saras is there, Punjab, Vita is there, Bihar, you go Sudha is there. So these are the cooperatives formed under Operation Flood, and you can see the data. Next slide, please. So this is, thank you. So Isha, you can remove this presentation. I'll talk the other things. So if you ask me, what is the reasons for success of Amul? I have to tell you only one word, and that is a very, very important business lesson for any enterprise, not only for the any cooperatives or farmers organization. It is consistency. Whatever policies, whatever you do, it has to be consistent throughout. So if you talk in Amul, first is consistency, leadership, and business goals. Leadership, we were lucky to get a very selfless and dedicated leader like Trubham Das Patel, who founded Amul, and later on a very committed professional like Dr. Varghese Kurian, who worked throughout his life. And these two people made India world's largest producer and the self-reliant. And the business philosophy, the day one, these two gentlemen found a business with that value for many and value for money. Value for many means providing very stable and remunerative price day after day to the milk producers, or 3.6 million producers today who own this. And value for money means providing best quality product by using the best natural ingredients, by using the latest technology and packaging available in the world at affordable price, because India is a country of lower middle class. If you want to get a scale, you need affordability. And the second reason for inconsistency is the product recipes. The butter which was introduced more than 50 years back, the same product recipes today. We have never changed the ingredients of any product recipe just to reduce the cost of production. You talk to any company, any brand manager, once the product gets the market share, good market share, the next is how to reduce the cost of production. And that can be only possible in case of food, is by replacing expensive ingredients with the cheap ingredients. Like you replace dairy fat in your spread or in ice creams or in your flavored milk or cheese with a vegetable fat. Dairy fat is 400 rupees kg, and palm oil is only 70 rupees kg, which Amul has never done it. And the third very important part of consistency point is communication. We have very, very particular about consistency in communication, because we know that building brand is through our communicating to the millions and billions of consumers. And for that, you need brand building. For that, you need advertising spend. And Amul, if I tell you, we are advertising spend is only less than 1% of our sales turnover, vis-a-vis any of our competitor, any of our food company, any of our multinational, which ranges from 8 to 15%. Reason is simple, because we want to give more to the milk producer and give more to the consumer. So for that, we followed very creative use of our messages and the media. And consistency there, our utterly butterly delicious butter topical campaign, which is more than 54 years, it is continuing. Then in 90s, we studied Amul, the taste of India, same positioning we are going. Then the beginning of 2000, we started Amul Doodh Pita India. So we had cut. So we tell our all advertising agencies, once you select positioning, you should do it. Only thing is we have come out with a very unique way of media planning. You take our utterly butterly delicious butter topical campaign. We spend peanuts on this campaign. Still, if I tell anybody that I'm from Amul, the first reaction I get is, Mr. Sodhi, your that Amul topical campaign is superb. You give me any brand name which is recalled based on the campaign. People recall based on the product. If I tell you Sony TV comes, if I tell you Maruti, you think about a car. But this is a creative and a very careful thing. I mean, out of a total budget of less than 1% of turnover, spend on this campaign is less, only 4 to 5%. So when I say peanuts, means peanuts. And communication doesn't mean only the position, even the people involved. We have kept the same advertising agency like Dakuna States who had started, conceived this campaign, or now for some products we have kept for the last more than 40 years is FCB Ultra. The people who are there, they started their career, they have been working with us for the last 3-4 decades. And next very important is also very business, for any business in the consistency lesson is the consistency in human resources. I'm very fortunate that my whole of the team, more than 90% team is on their first job. We go only for the campus placement. This is my first job. So is all the senior colleagues. They are all on their first job. So we can say we have got the DNA given by Dr. Varghese Koria and Tirupati Patel, because that DNA has been carried out. I was very fortunate to work with Dr. Varghese Koria for around 30 years. So these are the reasons for the consistency which our business has. So now let us, because I see time is less, let me tell you what are the opportunities in food and dairy sector for any young entrepreneur or any professional in India. I was talking to Mr. Michael. See, we are very lucky that food market is directly proportional to the number of stomach. We have got 1.35 billion stomach, which will be 1.7 billion by 2050. With more prosperity, more disposable income, people upgrading themselves from carbohydrates diet to more protein and fat-rich diet, especially more packed branded food, especially during this pandemic, which shift has come. So food market today, which is today 40 lakh crore, both organized and unorganized. There's no other sector as big. Out of 40 lakh crore, organized or branded market is only 4 lakh crore. And out of the 4 lakh, 2.5 lakh crore is only dairy. And there's enough opportunities to whether growing food, logistic food, manufacturing or processing food, warehousing food, branding food, or packaging, or providing lot of equipments for plant machinery, testing, lot of it. And in dairy, which is today 8 lakh crore, another 10 years it will be 30 lakh crore. And organized, which is 2.5 lakh crore, will be minimum 10 lakh crore. So in dairy only, we are going to provide jobs to about 1.2 crore people. Out of that, 80% job will be the rural India, where there are no jobs. And animal husbandry sector is contribution to GDP is growing, where agriculture is reducing. So this is the sector which has got very important. But there are challenges also. If shortly I take, first challenge is how to attract next generation of farmers to continue in farming, continue to grow food, continue to milk cows and buffaloes. Because they don't find milking cows or growing paddy or wheat is very glamorous or contemporary or a hot business. I don't know. That is the problem. We have made agriculture low. You imagine, can we survive without food? Imagine during lockdown pandemic, what was the talk? From morning to evening only we were talking about food, who will buy, from where to buy, what to cook, what recipe, who will put on the Facebook and other thing, and comparing. So food is very important, and if we need food not for our generation but also for the next generation, we have to take care of the farmers. Next is leadership. How to get leadership, selfless, dedicated political leadership and professional leadership like Dr. Varghese Korean. Third is very important for India is a country where productivity is very low per animal or per acre. But please understand, our model is low input, low out. So we have to come up solution where there are jobs or sources of livelihood in the rural India for 100 million milk producers or 15 or 150 million farmers. You can't say consolidate the land and big farms and we can do it and productivity will improve. It will improve. But what will be happen to the livelihood 150 million farmer family? So we have to come out with productivity solution with these small holding, small farmers. And the next important is very important. Everybody is talking about global supply chain, FTA, RCEP is very good. But in other agriculture-rich country, agriculture or dairy is a business. India is a livelihood. So when government India wanted to sign RCEP for allowing free trade, where food can be imported into India at a zero duty, naturally all the farming organization oppose it. What will happen to our livelihood? And we are very thankful to the government. They agree to the farmers' request, and RCEP, India withdrew from the RCEP as well for FTA. The last challenge which I'm going to talk, and I think which will be very interesting for you people, is threat from fake food or dairy products. I'll tell you example of dairy. You see lot of products like oat milk, almond milk, or soya milk. Just take a packet of almond milk, take a packet of milk, see the ingredients. Milk has got only one ingredient, either toned or full cream milk or standardized milk. And if you see almond milk, there'll be more than 15, 16 ingredients. Lots of emulsifier, stabilizer, artificial color, and then palm oil and this. These are nothing but factory manufactured chemical products. And unfortunately, they try to lure consumer by saying nutritionally it is good. Nutrition wise is not 1/10 of the milk by protein or the fat or the vitamins or anything. And all vitamins are artificially chemically added, whereas milk is natural. And then they talk about cruelty to the animals, that milking is not good if milk is for the calf. But let me tell you, calf requires only 400 to 800 cc of milk. If it is retained in the udder of a cow, it will be poisonous. And you need cows. If you don't sell milk, how you feed the cow? India, there are 300 million cows and buffalo. You have to feed farmers. It's economic value. So they give milk, farmers feed his family as well as sell it, and then buy the feed or fodder and feed it. And moreover, what will happen to our soil? Chemical fertilizer will not give life. It's a biofertilizer that gives the life. If cows or buffaloes are there, how the soil fertility will be kept alive? So these are the threats which I think farmers organizations are taking up. So in the end, I can tell you only thing is, in the short is, no doubt you should start thinking about destiny, what you want to become, where you want to be in next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But let me tell you, don't get disheartened if you are not able to achieve. There are hundreds of opportunities, but only thing is, whichever field you go, wherever you go, you should give best, and there are no shortcuts in the life, only hard work, passion, and the patience will pay you in the long run. Thank you very much. Now I am open to the question answers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sodhi, for your very informative talk. We'll now move on to the question and answer. So if anyone has any questions for Dr. Sodhi, you can just raise your hands. Okay, Raghav, you can go first.
Good afternoon, sir. I was very, very excited to hear you speak today, and I'm very happy. I hope you enjoyed your first time talking to students. And throughout it, I was just waiting for you to talk about the entire image campaign of Amul, because obviously everything that they have done is astounding. But this image campaign has stayed with me forever, and I think you're absolutely right when you said that family values and things like continuity stay with Amul. And I wanted to ask you what you think the impact of the Amul girl and the entire Amul butter campaign has had on people and has had on the company.
Well, Raghav, you are rightly. Let me ask you why you ask this question. Because you know about Amul butter, and it's more than 54 years old campaign. It's the world's longest running campaign. And you see why it was started in 50s or the 60s when Dr. Varghese Kurian wanted to launch butter. Only English brands were selling, not only butter, all English food imported. Polson was there, Caventer was there, Anchor was there. So that time nobody thought of firstly launching Amul brand. So, but Dr. Kurian said, I want to launch Indian brand. So Amul was coined by a chemist. Amul is a brand, it's not a name of the company. Priceless or Amulya. And then when butter was launched against this English brand, he called Mr. Sylvester Dacuna that I want you to create a campaign which is very creative, no doubt, but I don't have much money. With minimum money, you can create the maximum. And the first topical was put up on a hoarding in Bombay only, Seaface. And then when I joined in 1982, this campaign was only on 22 hoardings all over India. Then later on, when digital media came, we started on digital media and then the press and sometimes on a TV. And this butter girl is always young. We don't need celebrity. Let me tell you, celebrities, people, brands pay to celebrities to come on their brand. Here, celebrities aspire to come on our campaign. As soon as any celebrity, whether the Bollywood or Hollywood or the first message we get, thank you for putting me in your campaign. And not a single penny. I mean, they feel obliged. So this is the value of creativity and the media selection. And this girl, see, this girl is unbiased. She never spares anybody. She never is fear of anybody, and she never favor anybody. And that is why you will see people just, we have commented on anything, she has commented on anything. And very important, let me tell you, this campaign is conceived and executed by our advertising agency without our approval. I see it when you see. You see, by the time we are talking today, I just, when Mr. Michael was giving, I just saw a message. And it was a new butter topical which my agency has put up on this yesterday happening in Delhi. You can see. So we sign only the bill. So this is the independence given to the professional. And it's the only creative way of thinking you can come out with this.
Yes, I think the Amul girl is a celebrity herself. So thank you so much.
Okay, Kshitij, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so thank you, firstly, thank you for your talk today. It was great. And also, my question for you was how exactly has the COVID pandemic impacted Amul? Because, like, you spoke about it, but of course, initially it would have impacted production and demand. But then you also mentioned how people later eventually wanted more packaged products. So, from a business perspective, how did the lockdown impact Amul in specific?
Kshitij, I think a very relevant question you asked. If in one word I have to tell about the impact of COVID on Amul is positive. Not for a single day there was any impact either on our business production or the market. Let me tell you, in our supply there are two parts. One is where we buy or procure milk from 3.6 million farmers, 18,500 village cooperative society twice in a day. So first challenge was procurement of milk. And second challenge was because Amul milk, which is available in all the bigger cities all over India, how to make our fresh product. But we were lucky that right from day one, milk was exempted. So only thing is was communication. So we communicated, I mean, 2 weeks back to the farmers, what were the safety measures they to take, and milk will never. So we, not for a single minute, our this supply chain stopped. Because you see, we were under lockdown. Our cows and buffalo were not under lockdown. They were continuing to give milk. So you have to milk them. And you people sitting at home require milk, dahi, curd, paneer. Imagine if there would have been food available or delivered to you, what would have been your position? So in fact, the first 2 months we got 17% more milk than the usual because simply the unorganized player, the small players stopped milk procurement. And same happened to sale. The first few days our liquid milk climbed by 15 to 20%. And there was a lot of panic buying, although I personally sent so many messages and we advertised also. And so product was available, product was visible through, and we doubled our advertising spend also during this pandemic at half the rates. So we used, I'm not saying we used, our people worked hard and we got reward also during this pandemic because of good procurement, good sales, and this market share which we got enhanced during COVID, it is irreversible because a lot of share has come from unpacked and unbranded market to the packed. There has been shift.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Manoj, would you like to go next?
Mr. Sodhi, I'm Manoj. I teach business and management at the school. So I have the privilege to quote a lot of case studies and a lot of material, especially advertising. As you rightly said, one of your campaign is the longest running campaign in the world, and still holding on to the interest of the audience. I was a little bit surprised at the rate of the product portfolio that Amul is following. For some reason, you have taken very long time to diversify and move into. Like just now, I have seen you are giving competing the French fries. Very recently, you came into that. What goes behind in your office when you all have to decide about the product portfolio? What do you keep in mind? Because you have such a big brand, whatever you will launch in the market, I'm sure in food category, people will buy it. So why so slow product portfolio expansion?
Firstly, let me tell you, Mr. Manoj, I'll tell you we are not slow in launching new product. But first, let us talk about product portfolio. Like in India, like I said, dairy sector is 8 lakh crore. Whatever 60% is surplus milk. Out of 60% surplus, only 20% is coming to the organized packed of brand. The remaining 20 or 1/3 or 2/3 of total milk is going through unorganized. So opportunity and potentially to grow in dairy is much more than any other food sector.
Right.
So naturally, any organization, any corporate has got limited resources and time. And if you see the number of product launched, every month we launch 2.5 product, new product.
Okay.
I mean, you take any month. During the first, 100 days of this pandemic, we launched more than 12 products. Lot of immunity boosting product and bakery product. And we do not have new product development division. A lot of people ask, like you said, French fries. Why we have gone into this? Let me tell you. Simply because the North Gujarat, we got called district Banaskata, and they produce a lot of potatoes. One of his big multinational players is buying potato from them. They are not getting good price. The farmers approached us. They said, you have got the largest and most penetrated frozen cold chain in India through ice cream, which is lying idle during winter, not fully utilized. Why don't you also buy potato and make French fries and sell? So we said, reluctantly we started, we hired a plant, started, and did very well. And today we are putting 100 crore rupees investment in a potato processing plant. But let me tell you, our priority is dairy because there are a lot of opportunity, and dairy is 80% milk producer landless and marginal farmers. Agriculture is still the landowner. So we are putting more in dairy. And like I said, you compared with any Indian food company in FMC, our growth rate has been average double than anything. And that naturally has come with the more, I mean, 10 years back, we were getting 93 lakh liters milk. Today we are getting 250 lakh liters. 10 years back, we were 8,000. Today is 50,000. So you can see the numbers which will tell you. But you're right. We do not have new product development division because our production people only do it. We don't have R&D division because our production people. You give me any idea, any good idea, even you give me, my daughter gives me, my wife gives me, or my colleague gives me. Within 90 days, if idea is good, product will be in the market. From conception to the launch, we take maximum 90 days, which is the record in the history.
Thank you. Thank you for explanation. I mean, we always, I think in one of the classes, at least a day, we quote some example from Amul, and one of our year 9 student, his name is Vansh. He has taken your company as a project. So we like every student pick up a favorite brand or a company, then they follow the performance. And Vansh has been giving us a lot of input about Amul. So thank you very
You
much.
can ask once if he wants to have more information, you can give my number. Isha will give you, and then I can provide more information.
Sure, sir. We will do that. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ansh, would you like to go next?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Sodhi. Your speech was amazing. I think it was very informative. You talked about how Amul is such a big brand now. It's a global brand now. It's one of the best in the world, and it's top one in the Asia Pacific market. I had a question that Amul still brands itself and markets itself as an Indian brand. It's the taste of India. It's very, when you think of Amul, you think of the whole nation. And today you have like new brands coming up with like international names, trying to relate themselves with France or with US. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he
Okay.
has that.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm coming. Sorry.
No
There
problem.
was some problem in the Wi-Fi. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. So, Ansh, last line I could not hear.
So I said that new brands coming up from India.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. See, firstly, let me tell you, you said that why Amul is not an international brand. And I agree with you. Every Indian feels whether in India or not, Amul is his or her own brand. People are very patriotic because Amul is not owned by any individual. It is owned by every Indian. So why it is not international famous? I'll give you simple as a business analogy. India is world largest market for milk and milk products. India is world's fastest growing market in milk and milk products. World, all these countries are not growing. There you have to compete with the extreme brand and snatch. And in India, 2/3 is still unorganized. So you tell me as a businessman, if you have to invest in where you'll invest, you will go to the market which has maximum potential. Whole world is coming to India. I remember last year I attended at Turkey, Istanbul, the International Dairy Federation, with all the CEOs of world companies come, and I met one of the CEOs. They had recently wound up from India, and I asked him, sir, why you are the world's biggest dairy company? Why you wound up in India? You know what was his answer? Mr. Sodhi, we can't compete with the supply chain efficiency of Indian dairy companies. He says you operate with just 5 to 6% margin in case of milk from or curd from your factory to the consumer, and here our retailers want 30%. How can we? And we also want margin. So first is you have to see, you have to go there as a winner. Second is international brand. Let me tell you my reality. It is not true. In 1982, when I joined Amol, if I used to walk into any store and I used to watch the housewife or consumer buying their products, I used to see that generally consumer wanted to buy international brand name. And then gradually people started preferring Indian or national brand name. You know what is the latest trend 5, 6 years? Local brand name. In food, consumer want local brand. Reason is simple. Because first is food is taste. They feel local brand is meeting my taste. It is more fresh. Okay. And it is will be very reasonably priced. And they find some affinity. So biggest challenge for Amul is not, we don't want to become international. We don't want to become national brand. How to become a local brand, how to become a brand of Assam, how to become a brand of Punjab, how to become a brand of Odisha. In fact, we have started Amul or regional language website, regional language campaign, even creative agencies also locally, because Amul wants to become a local brand, not international brand.
Thank you.
Okay, and Dhruv, do you want to go next?
Thank you. So you mentioned about several grassroots level education development programs, and on the web, on in the internet, I read about women's empowerment, environment safety, and conservation initiatives. Why was this important to Amul as a priority and to you as well?
But the priority is women empowerment is a very, in India, especially rural India. I mean, dairy or cooperative dairy has not only provided livelihood, it has also provided them dignity of labor. It has also provided them confidence and standing in the society. And basically in a house, it is basically the women are doing. Coming about environment, etc., let me tell you, a lot of people talk to me about this methane production, this Indian dairy is producing more. India should not produce milk because of our productivity is low, so our cows and buffaloes are generating more methane. I ask them only one question. I ask them only simple. This earth is owned by all the occupants of earth. There are no boundaries. Each individual, we have got a 7 billion population. Each 7 billion people have same ownership. So please tell me the methane per capita methane emission in your country and our country. We have 1/10 of these countries. And people want to buy a vegetable grown in Kenya and airlifted, see the methane and emission or carbon footprint. And what is the cost? And here, environment is a question of livelihood. So you have to think, people, आप किसी किसान से पूछेंगे ना, if you ask me methane or carbon, what is it? For them, livelihood is the first priority. So first livelihood comes, then business, then comes the environment. And these issues have been raised by the vested interest again and again to exploit, to see that these countries who are becoming self-reliant, how they can be strong. Same is WTO, same is FTA, same is RCEP.
Okay, Kshitij, do you want to take the last question?
Yeah, hi, sir. I had another question for you. So, when you were talking, you mentioned about good leadership and how it's essential. And like, I agree, good leadership is essential for any business to prosper. But what exactly would you say are like the qualities you would look for in a good leader when you're looking at a high-ranking position in a country?
I think any leader, whatever opportunity I had working with Dr. Varghese Kurian and Tribundas Patel, first is the value system. I have never seen them compromising on the values. Like I tell you, when I was passing out from the IRMA, and in our batch, there were around 42 people. And Dr. Varghese Kurian was the chairman of NDDB, Amul, and he was also chairman of IRMA and a lot of other organizations. So, and NDDB was recruiting a lot of people, and so is Amul. So one of my batchmates asked me one question, sir, you are recruiting a lot of people. So what qualities you look for a manager you want to recruit? You know what was his answer? He said, I look for 3 qualities. And what are those qualities? Integrity, integrity, and integrity. And that is the quality in leadership. Integrity to the organization. Integrity. What are values you have to see? Passion is important, patience is important, hard work is important. The value like integrity and excellence. The other thing is the excellence. Whatever you do, it has to be excellent. Dr. Varghese Kurian said, if you are a farmer's organization, don't think that you can compromise on buildings or designing or technology. If you come and see any of our building, the best of architects have designed it. You come to our plant, the best available technology for production or processing or packaging. So leadership is very important, but selfless and dedicated leadership. You have to give your whole life to the cause. Dr. Varghese Kurian gave his life. Then only he could make this India self-led, and today whole world is remembering. So leader has not be self, only looking this side. And let me tell you, the only thing which I also learned from Dr. Varghese Kurian and Tribundas Patel is give more to earn more. If any business, if you want to earn more, you have to ensure that all the partners and supply chain or all the stakeholders are happy. You cannot only think about your profit, you think about your supply, you think about employees, you think about their consumer. If they are happy, your business is good, and then you're a true and long-lasting leader.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
I think that's all the questions that we have time for. Thank you so much, Mr. Sodhi, for taking the time to speak to us and answer all our questions. The talk was genuinely very informative and very inspiring, and all of us learned a lot from it. And we're very grateful that you took the time to speak to us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sodhi. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So I'll close the meeting and the recording now, and you'll be able to access that. Thank you for your hosting duties. Very good as ever.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good job, Isha. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.